Aquarius, I told you that there will be an intensification of conflict and drama over the next 200 years. What we saw with Tyreek Hill was a snapshot of things to come. What we saw with Tyreek Hill was a snapshot of things to come. What we saw with Tyreek Hill was a snapshot of things to come. But I want to go a step further, and I want to go a level deeper. I want to go a step further, and I want to go a level deeper. I want to go a step further, and I want to go a level deeper on this Tyreek Hill situation. I want to talk about the elephant in the room that no one is discussing. I want to talk about the elephant in the room that no one is discussing. I want to talk about the elephant in the room that no one is discussing. So Tyreek Hill is on his way to the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium for the Miami Dolphins football game. It's football Sunday. He's on his way 3 hours before game time. He gets pulled over by Miami's finest. Now, he was a little argumentative. He was. He was a little arrogant. He was. But here's the situation. If Tyreek Hill was a Caucasian, does he get pulled out of his car? Because I see a lot of the Neanderthal Nation in the chat. I see the Neanderthal Nation in the chat saying things like Tyreek Hill caused this. This is what Neanderthal Nation is saying. Neanderthal Nation is saying Tyreek Hill caused this. So my question to the Neanderthals in the chat, if Tyreek Hill was a Caucasian, does he get treated the same way even if he did what he did? If Tyreek Hill was Tom Brady, if Tyreek Hill was Dan Marino, if Dan Marino reacted to the police the same way that Tyreek Hill did, does he get pulled out of the car? I think we all know the answer to that question. I think we all know the answer to that question. Without question, there is a double standard in the police treatment of black people vis-a-vis everyone else, especially white folks. Especially white folks. Now, if they need to pull Tyreek Hill out the car and arrest him for refusing to comply with officer directions, then put him in handcuffs, put him in a paddy wagon, he's off to the station, he gets booked. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Okay, you had to get him out the car and handcuff him for not following police orders, so be it. Handcuff him and take him to the station. Why was it necessary to force him to the ground? Why was it necessary to force him to the ground? Why was it necessary to lay him on his stomach on that hot-ass Miami sidewalk concrete? Why was it necessary to lay Tyreek down on his stomach on that hot-ass Miami concrete? Why was it necessary to put a knee in Tyreek Hill's back? He was already handcuffed. He wasn't kicking anybody with his legs. He yelled out and told you, I just got surgery on my knee. And y'all still proceeded to force him down to the ground, hoping y'all would re-injure his knee. I'm going to come to the elephant in the room in just a minute. I'm going to come to the elephant in the room just a minute. So you force him down first on his bottom, then you force him on his stomach, and then you put a knee in his back. If he was Caucasian, he don't even get removed from the car. If he was Caucasian, he don't even get removed from the car. If he was Caucasian, he don't even get removed from the car. And then when his teammates roll up, when Tyreek Hill's teammates roll up, y'all get nasty, disrespectful. Y'all forbid them from exercising their constitutional right to observe officers carrying out their duty. You cannot force them to get in their car and drive away. That was illegal. You cannot force them to get in their car and drive away. That was illegal. They have a right to observe police carrying out their duty, but you were so arrogant, so privileged, So used to treating black men like animals, you felt you could force them out. And when they didn't want to get in their car and drive away, you proceeded to arrest them as well. Tyreek asked the question. Tyreek Hill asked the question. He said, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? He said, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? He said, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? We all know the answer to that question, don't we? We saw the officers when they registered his driver's license and his name popped up. And one of the officers told the other officer, he's one of the star players of the Miami Dolphins. Did y'all see that part? That's when the energy began to shift. He said he's one of the star players of the Miami Dolphins. Did y'all see that part? That's when the energy began to shift. Now, you all know, like I know, no black man who gets handcuffed 3 hours before the football game is going to be released from custody before the game. So we know the white power structure picked up a phone and made a phone call. We know that the general manager of the Miami Dolphins picked up the phone and made a phone call. We know that the owner of the Miami Dolphins picked up the phone and made a phone call. Because Tyreek Hill is one of the top football players in the league, arguably the best. And he plays for the NFL slave plantation. He is a prized possession of the NFL corporate slave plantation. And him not showing up to the game will cause a whole lot of fans of the Miami Dolphins to want their money back. They came for Tyreek Hill. He's the one selling out them games in Miami. If he was not a prized possession of the NFL corporate plantation, we all know what could have happened. But the bigger issue that nobody's talking about, the biggest issue that nobody's talking about is how they treated Tyreek Hill and his teammates, is how they treat black men every day in Miami. Shout out to my Miami alpha males. Shout out to my Hollywood, Florida alpha males. Shout out to my Fort Lauderdale and my West Palm Beach alpha males. Black men in South Florida go through that every day. Black men across America go through that every day. But can I get to the elephant in the room? And y'all know where I'm about to go. Let me get to the elephant in the room. And y'all know where I'm about to go. They were not brutalized by white police. They were not brutalized by Irish officers. They were not brutalized by Italian officers. They were not brutalized by Jewish officers. They were not brutalized by British officers or French or Swedish American officers or Austrian or German officers. They were brutalized by Latino officers. I want my Kamala Harris crash out dummies to listen to me real close. I want my Donald Trump crash out dummies to listen to me really close. I want D.L. Hughley to listen to me really close. I want Steve Harvey to listen to me really close. I want Ricky Smiley to listen to me really close. All the Democratic Party plantation slave crash dummies and all the Republican Party plantation slave crash dummies, I want you to tune in right now. I want every American African to understand, overstand, and understand where I'm going right now. I want every American African to understand, overstand, and understand where I'm going right now. I want every American African to understand, overstand, and understand where I'm going. For 400 years, we have only had to worry about police brutality from Caucasians and Negropeans. For 400 years, we have only had to deal with police brutality from Caucasians and their Negropean counterparts for 400 years. But under Vice President Kamala Harris, and we've already seen this in Illinois. Where my Illinois Africans at? Where my Chicago Africans, my Illinois Africans at? because the governor of Illinois not too long ago signed legislations to allow migrants to become police officers. The governor of Illinois signed legislation to allow the migrants to become police officers. So what you saw with Tyreek Hill in the Miami-Dade Latino police, what you saw with Tyreek Hill in the Miami-Dade Latino police was a snapshot of what you're going to see all across Black America, where we are being gentrified by the migrants. The migrants are now going to be carrying out police brutality against Africans for the white power structure. I said the Latinos are going to be carrying out police brutality for the white power structures. I said the Latinos are going to be carrying out police brutality on behalf of the white power structure. Now, for my African Latinos, you are a part of the family. I'm not talking to you. For my African identifying Latinos, you are part of the family. I'm not talking to you. For my African Latinos, my Latino Africans, you are part of the family. I'm not talking to you. But for the anti-African Latinos, who make up the majority of American Latinos, let us be honest. Most Latinos in this country are anti-African. So we're going to stop that people of color nonsense right now. We're going to stop that black and brown nonsense right now. What you saw with Tyreek Hill is a taste test. When Kamala Harris intensifies the immigration movement, when she brings more brown people into America to oppress black people, you're going to see more brown on black police oppression. Get ready. If Kamala becomes president, you're going to see more brown police. And as you saw with Tyreek Hill, they will treat black people the same way as white people treat black people. Y'all talking about vote for Kamala Harris. Vote for Kamala Harris. You out of your damn mind. Those Latinos were racist as hell against Tyreek and his teammates. And y'all want me to go and vote for Kamala Harris. She's going to bring more brown people to America to take your jobs in your neighborhoods and to oppress you through the police force. It's one thing to be mistreated by white folks. It's one thing to be mistreated by white folks. But now the white folks are going to weaponize the immigrants to mistreat you too. Now the white folks are going to weaponize the immigrants to mistreat you too. That Tyreek Hill situation was a snapshot of the future. Black America, all you Democratic Party plantation slave crash out dummies, please watch the Tyreek Hill video again. That's what you're voting for when you vote for Kamala Harris.